which I hate putting on my own show. If I never have to put on my own show again, I'll be totally fine. But the benefit of it is
I'm just a masochist.
I'm unloading the meat. Unloading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. Unloading the meat. I'm unloading the meat. Unloading the meat. Unloading the meat. I don't even know what it means, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Hey, I'm unloading the meat. Unloading the meat. I'm unloading the meat.
No, don't adjust your sets. This is not OnlyFans. Welcome to Unloading Meat. I am your host, Jared Ralphie Allen, and today on the couch we have an ultra funny guest who has his new special coming out soon. Give it up for the one, the only Adam Bush. Man, thank you for coming all the way to Bartlesville.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Heard of this place, never been. Here we are.
So, yeah, we'll get the restraining orders out soon.
It's very close to Kansas. I had no idea, but here it is.
You want to move the mic a little closer to your mic?
How's this?
That's better, just so we can hear that deep, sexy voice.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
You know, as I'm saying, deep, sexy voice to a preacher.
Well,
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Former preacher.
Yeah, was. Former preacher.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, man.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
How long you been in the comedy game?
5 years. In January, I think it was like January 12th or so, 2018. So what are we? 2019.
2019?
Yep. 5 years ago. So I just had my fifth comedy birthday. I think we were at the Improv in Tempe,
Nice.
Phoenix, and so it was a great weekend.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Congrats on the 5 years, and your special's coming out in May, right? This will be coming out, this episode, I'm going to try to have it come out the week of, do you want to come out your dry bar, or you want to come out the week of your special?
Whatever you want, man.
Okay.
It's up to you. You're doing the hard work.
Okay, so we'll put it out maybe like the first week of May or so
That's great.
to help it out, because what's coming up first?
So my dry bar comedy special comes out May 9th, and that's just like 22, 23 minutes, just clean dry bar stuff. If you know dry bar, they're just all clean.
Yeah.
And that'll be on the app, the dry bar app.
Very nice.
I think that's how it works. And then I think they put clips on YouTube, and then eventually the whole thing's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long that's
It's like a time-based like lock system kind of.
something like that. Yeah. And then but then my special will be my one-man show will be on YouTube on the 17th of May. It's an hour long. I filmed it a year ago, and yeah, we're finally ready to release it.
Nice. What's the title of it? Do you have a title?
Yeah, it's called Who Brought the Kid? So
Nice.
It's very much in the style of Mike Birbiglia. It's one story the whole way through, and
Very nice.
talks a lot about my relationship with my father, growing up, insecurities, comedy, and actually tells the story of how I got into comedy through all of that. So yeah.
Well, nice, man. Again, thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
I wanted to dig into that special a little bit because, like, I never asked fellow comics to give away material or anything on the show,
Sure.
and like that. But like, I want to get kind of like behind how you write a little bit.
Yep.
Because I've encountered you several times at different clubs, you know, like Stellar, stuff like that, and I always see you out with your notebook, and I've observed you like trying to over your shoulder. Like, I'm not trying to like steal your shit or anything, but I saw you. Oh, you're always writing. You're always like getting ready for your sets, and I admire that.
Thanks.
Because I noticed that at clubs. I notice people that are putting in the work that are always just even to the last second trying to think of stuff and working out the segues, and I pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
So like when you're thinking of that special, and you said it's a 1 hour long basically story. What's your thought process going into that? Like, how do you develop that?
Yeah, so with this one, I do the same thing every comic does. I think of something funny, and I write it down, and I try to hash it out on stage. And the next day, I, look at it again and try to hash it out again that night. And I just found that over the course of a couple of years, the jokes and stories that I was sharing seemed to have a common theme. And so I thought, could I put these together and put them in some sort of chronological order? When I do that, kind of what reveals itself. And a lot of this, I think a lot of comics probably learn that at the beginning, a lot of the material comes from the stories that you've been sharing your whole life, just with people at parties and things like that. And so a lot of these stories are like things that I've just had. I mean, I didn't become a comic until I was like 37. So like that's 37 years of stories that I've been telling people. So it's a lot of that. And so there's a lot of life lived. I'm a little bit more nervous about my next special because there's not going to be that much time that's progressed. But with this one, it's just looking at it like, what is the common themes that I'm finding through my life? My father passed away in the middle of all of it, and so that was a big turning point in my life. And so a large part of the story is about that.
Yeah.
And so then you just kind of, it's hard when you're just starting out as a comic to get a lot of stage time. So I'd put on my own shows and tell people I was working it out, and then so I did that several times before I got to the point where I was like, I think I'm ready to film it.
Yeah.
So so that's kind of it. Yeah. Just and there's a lot of jokes that didn't make it, a lot of jokes that even got edited out, stories that got edited out, and maybe they'll make it to the
How
next
many shoots did you do? Like one,
one. We did two.
two?
We did two. Yep.
And was it just the best of one, or did you edit them together?
It's predominantly the best of the second.
Okay.
And there was like one part I actually forgot a joke, a significant piece in the second one.
It happens. Yeah.
So I put it in, but in my dry bar is about the same. I think it's the majority of the second show, and
Okay.
it might be all of the second show. So, yeah. That seems to be the way that I think it's kind of always worked for me, like that. Yeah.
Nice. Because I mean, I have no ego about. I'm still starting out. I'm very fresh. I'm very new, novice. I'm just trying to build this as I build and get my stand up going.
Yeah.
But you hit something on there earlier where you said that you weren't getting booked a lot when you started out, so you started putting on your own shows. And when you were saying that earlier.
Oh yeah, no. I think what I was more so saying was I wasn't getting, but which is normal. I wasn't getting booked to do very long sets.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the hardest part of, specifically doing a one-man show, because like it's an hour long. I need to.
Where do you try it out?
Yeah, where do you try it out? And so like, especially early on, it's really difficult to get more than 5, 10 minutes even. I mean, I remember that was even a struggle. And often like I didn't have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I think it was right when the pandemic ended, in kind of when it started, it didn't end because it's still going, but right when it started to lift restrictions, I was like, all right, listen, I bet everybody would like to go do something. And so I put on a show, downtown Tulsa, and I was like, this is a storytelling show. It's working it out. Like it's just, if you want to come hang out, let's do it. And I sold that out. I think everybody was just like, oh, I just want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And so we did a second show the night before, which was great. It was full, and so that was the first time I was like, okay, I can kind of start to feel like. And so I did that a bunch in the middle of, like, I would still do one-off shows and things like that, but anytime. And I do a lot of churches because I used to work at a church, and so when I do churches, like, churches want you to do like 2 hours, which is far too long for comedy.
Yeah.
But I'd always be like, yeah, I can do like 45 minutes. And so, and they're a lot cooler with just doing stories.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be completely funny. And so I'd kind of fit it in there. But the longer it went, I mean, I can get, however much time I need to now, I guess.
Well, I was just trying to find, like, I was relating it too, because like like I said, I'm still new, I'm still trying out, and I'm still trying to find places to do time and get, booked to do longer time than, a 5 minutes or 10 minutes here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that out just recently. I started putting on my specials and doing those monthly at Go and filming those and getting people booked. And like, it wasn't until I started doing that monthly that then my name started getting out there. Oh, can I have you on my show? Can I have you on the show?
Sure.
It's like, someone, I think it was Roscoe, told me one time, it's like, sometimes you don't get to that next level until you start booking yourself. And then it starts getting your name out there more. You're to a certain level, and then people start booking you. Sometimes it happens like that. And like, I don't know, it happened to me a little bit. So I was kind of relate with that a little bit. As far as like just starting to book my own self and started to get more attention, I guess.
Yeah,
if you will.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do more time.
Sometimes you gotta be
make a show yourself.
Yeah,
yeah, and be more in control of it.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to dwell with the trolls too much on Reddit /stand-up too much, but like, some people are like, if you need stage time, go to Home Depot. You can buy you can build a stage for $40.
Yeah,
and I've had see people do that on Reddit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it is true, and I think the other thing about putting on your own show, which I hate putting on my own show, if I never have to put on my own show again, I would be totally fine, but. The benefit of it is
I'm just a masochist.
The benefit of it is like if I try something on the road now and it bombs, like it's kind of okay, but I can't do that too much. Like I'm not gonna keep the gig I've got right now. Excuse me. And so, I'm always aware of that.
Yeah.
But if you're doing your own show, you're the boss. Or, as long as you sold the tickets, or depending on where it is.
Well, the way I looked at it, and I'll just show you an example. Like Saturday, they had I don't know if you've met Lynn Kay. She's a comic and out of OKC.
Okay.
This was her first time being a host.
Okay.
It was her first time hosting, and she did great. She was a good host, and she was just like, I have never hosted before. I didn't realize how much was into it and how much like improv you got to do and writing. And she took it seriously. She did a good job, but I could tell at some point she was almost overwhelmed because she's like, I didn't realize how much was going to be involved in that. And I was like, yeah, now you start to see it. And I was like, I like doing that when I'm running my own shows because it almost makes me appreciate every single aspect of the whole thing.
It's a lot, yeah.
You appreciate hosts. You appreciate the people that are running the mics or the cameras or the audio sometimes. Like, all that little bit helps to make the show.
Yeah, it's a lot. And hosting sucks. It is short. You're typically getting paid the least.
Yeah.
And you have the most responsibility and you have to stay to the end. And yeah.
And somewhere they're going to be funny.
Yeah. And and I host all the time, but it's not my favorite thing. That sweet middle spot, that's where I sit, and that's what I love. Because you don't have to sell the tickets and you don't have to do all the work up top. And you got a warm crowd.
Yeah.
Like, that's nice.
Yeah, warm crowd.
Yeah, sometimes it can be kind of hard to know if your joke is working when you're hosting because it is the audience is so new. I opened for Dusty Slay at Bricktown in February, and I was hosting, and it was great, and I was stoked to be on the show, and it was a good set, and that crowd was hot, all of them.
Yeah.
But he mentioned to me, like, he's like, man, it takes me like 10 minutes to get the crowd warmed up. I was like, oh, that's all I have is 10 minutes, so you gotta get in there and go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like I'm trying to craft different size sets. Like, ultimately, I want to get on Kill Tony. I want to try to go. I want to go down there.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to try it. I want to try. I'm trying to craft a really good 1 minute set. I want a pocket one, 4 minute set, 8 minute set.
Yeah.
15. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still new. I'm still learning everything. I'm just trying to be a sponge.
I have a fun story for you about Kill Tony.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were at the we were in the Pittsburgh Improv.
Yeah.
It was the night Shane Gillis was hosting SNL,
mm-hmm.
and the show was early, and so the manager was like, "Hey, we're gonna wrap about 11. So do you guys want to stick around and watch? We'll DVR SNL with Shane." And we're like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So we're doing the merch table, and the crowd's about to finish out, and the doors open up, and every one of the Kill Tony guys walks in. And they were down the street at a theater doing a show and came over to watch Shane Gillis with us. So
that's a moment.
That was awesome. I
thought Gillis killed. I thought he did great on SNL.
It was awesome. And it was awesome to be with them because they're his buddies and they were proud of him. And they ordered a bunch of pizza. So we just hung out, and I remember thinking, like, I don't really belong here, but this is awesome that I get to be a part of it.
Yeah. That's a great moment, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, they didn't know I was there. There were so many people there, but I was there.
I think it was like the one skit that got cut. It was the Limu Emu.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
Oh, it's hilarious where he plays Doug.
Oh, okay.
And like Limu Emo starts like turning murderous a little bit. Like,
oh, okay. I'll have to watch it.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. It was like they always have like one or two sketches get cut for time.
Yep.
I don't know. Are you a wrestling fan? I'm not sure if you are.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
As you can see on this gigantic wall.
Yeah. All I know about wrestling is, like, didn't The Rock come back or something? Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, Shane Gillis and his story of getting fired from SNL and then coming back to host it is very the comedy version of what Cody Rhodes is kind of doing now in WWE, where, like, he lost the match, then he went a full year, and, like, he came back to finish his story.
Oh, yeah.
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 Like,
no, that's awesome.
I was like, that's kind of the comeback story.
Yeah, and that's also a nod to the dissolve of cancel culture, I think, and how it can flip around pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, hard work's hard work.
Yep,
sometimes.
that's true. Yep.
That's really what my mantra is on this. Is like, I'm not looking to get like Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura. I'm not looking to get super famous. I'm looking to just be self-sufficient with this.
Sure.
If I can pay my bills, take care of my kids, and pay for everything with my comedy, I'm very close already. And just awesome. 1 year in, I'm very close to getting some sponsors on this and getting to where I'm just paying my bills with comedy.
That's great. That's awesome.
And then I can just start going from there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I want to make sure that I think, yes, luck happens in this business. Luck happens everywhere. But you can always be prepared for every opportunity. Just do the work, be ready, always do grinding, and if you get an opportunity, just knock it out of the park.
That's all. Yeah.
That's what I've tried to do.
Yeah, I think, I teach a class at the Looney Bin, and one of the things I tell the guys is just, you just want to be ready for
Yeah.
an awesome opportunity. That's why I write every day. And
Yeah.
there, I'll have weeks off where I'm sad because I don't really have a show and we're not going out of town, we're not traveling or whatever. And I just remind myself, like, this is a perfect opportunity to write and do a little stage time, try it out, and then be ready for when Otherwise, you're going to get to that. I think there's a lot of people in general that do this, but in all avenues of work, but especially in comedy, that only focus on getting the opportunities, but they're not super ready, and that sucks. Yeah, because you could have been ready.
Yeah,
and then you never know what's going to come.
Well, and it's like, I'll be honest. I mean, we're kind of at the crux, I think, with us, because I mean, it's public speaking, it's public entertainment. We are entertainers. We're one man shows, like you pointed out.
Yeah,
and we're kind of at this crossroads of a lot of us have been taught fake it till you make it. But you can't do that whenever you're not ready on confidence, have confidence material and everything like that. Like sometimes there's a point where like you can only go so far faking it until you make it when you get on the stage with a mic in your hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't even know how to fake it till I make it. I don't know what that would even
I guess in my personal experience, it's like fake it till you make it comes into a contact and it like clashes with your imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. Like, that was my dad's always mantra. He's just like, fake it till you make it. Apply for this, get on your resume, get on there, and like you can learn the job on the way.
Oh, okay.
And then get there, and then like you can't really do that in comedy. You have to do the reps. You have to do the work. You have to be ready and just do the time.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty hard. You'd show up like a faker pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, well, you're not getting laughs, man. Like, let's move on.
Well, it's like, again, I try to be a sponge. I'm a student of the game. I'm trying to take notes. Like when I see podcasts or comedy, stuff like that, I have my notebook over there and I have notes on camera angles and camera cuts, how they're doing a delivery and stuff like that. I'm doing all that stuff. That's how I study stuff. I may be on the spectrum. I don't know. But I mean, I'll support it. But what I was getting at is I recently rewatched the Ralphie May did one like a long time ago. It was like a comedy boot camp.
Yep.
From I think it was I can't remember where he did it at. Anyway, it was like a 2-hour comedy boot camp.
Yeah.
If you've never watched it, I highly recommend it.
It's great.
It's great. Goes through a lot of stuff, but that game he played at open mics where he gave himself points. I've been doing that lately to kind of get just going, and it's been working a lot. He's like, if you don't know it, it's give yourself 5 points every time you do a new joke, 3 points for every time you do a new tag, and then 1 point if you try a joke in a different spot. And the goal at every 5 minutes is to get 12 points or more.
Oh, yeah.
And if you do that every time, by the end of the year, you'll have a 30-minute set, is what he basically told everybody.
Crazy. Yeah.
And it's just that inspiration and just trying stuff out like that. And it kind of keeps it as a game. You have fun.
No, that's awesome.
And he did that. And I was trying to tell him, I had another guy, Kyle Fleming, me and him took a ride to Stillwater 2 weeks ago for a show. And I was like telling him about that. And he's like, you know what? That's a pretty fun idea. I was like, yeah, you should check it out. It's pretty not bad fun.
Awesome.
Because sometimes on these roads, I mean, I'm sure like sometimes you get on these things, like sometimes you're just not on. It's hard to be on sometimes.
Yeah, I think the thing that I've noticed the most, let's see, I've been on the road with Preacher Lawson for almost 8 months now. The biggest learning that I've had has been the difference in, just audiences. Yeah. Because I've, previous to this, it's been fairly regional. I mean, I've done some I had done some out of state stuff, but not as wide as as soon as we went on the road, we went to Salt Lake City and Miami and Phoenix. It is just pretty far, it's a pretty long flight out to a group of people that think a lot differently than I do, or than the audiences here. And I mean, you can pretty much kind of know what kind of crowd we're going to have at the Ben or at Bricktown or whatever, and that is I would say it's fun, but more so I would say that is a lot of hard work. Yeah, because we were in Miami and I bombed pretty hard off the top, and I was just like, they're just not fans of this material, and so I've had to learn and continue to learn just how to pivot fast, because it's the same set for the most part that we do, but you get like, we're in North Carolina next week, and there's gonna be a moment where I'm like, this is not hitting the way that it usually does for whatever reason. Where am I gonna go? And that's hard.
So what? So when okay, that's a great point because like again, this podcast is also about like learning comedy and stuff like that, and helping out people too.
Yeah.
Just interviewing any kind of entertainer. What do you lean to more tags in that moment to try to punch them back up, or how would you accomplish that? Like, what was your go-to thing to do?
I keep my set in chunks. I've got a bunch of stuff about me looking like a lesbian, a bunch of stuff about having cancer as a kid, a bunch of stuff about parenting, and road stuff, just travel material.
Yeah.
And so like the biggest thing I've felt is I'll get a crowd that just doesn't they don't want to hear me talk about having cancer. And so for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a little older audience and it's something they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, it'll be for some other reason, like maybe it's just too dark.
Yeah.
Maybe. And Birbiglia says no jokes are too dark, but I definitely feel like I think he agrees with this that you do get an audience that feels that way. So not that anything should be off limits, but for them it doesn't work. So if I start to feel that, I'll just transition to the next group.
Yeah.
I might go to some crowd work to try to, and honestly, a lot of times it's just that.
Yeah.
I'll be doing my set and I'll be like 5 minutes in. I'm like, they're just not into jokes.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear any jokes. And that happens a lot at corporate events, which are no fun. But you just get in. You just have to.
But they pay.
They pay so well.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to do them. Yeah. So
booking available at unloadingmeat@gmail.com.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like you'll make a ton of cash doing corporate events, but feel like you're selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah.
So.
T-shirts available at unloadingmeat@gmail.com also.
Right. So one of those, like either jump to a new group or just go to some crowd work.
Okay.
Yeah, but I say go to some crowd work. It's hard. Like crowd work's hard.
Well, I mean, I also like. I'm sure there's those people that the rise of the crowd work comedian, so to speak, which I think crowd work's always been there, but like it's people that like making it famous, like the Matt Rives and stuff, and people that also like are anti the crowd work comic, or so to speak.
Sure.
I look at comedy same way as like, have you ever seen like the games or the show like Ink Master?
Yeah.
Where like you'll have like whoever's going to be the actual ink master.
Yeah.
And then you have these people come in there and they're like, well, I can only do black and gray.
Okay.
Well, then why the heck are you trying out for ink master? You should be the jack of all trades. At least know how to do a little bit of everything to be the master.
Sure.
And that's the way I kind of equate what we're doing is like, say you're not technically great at roasting or crowd work. You should still have that tool in your tool bag.
Yeah,
and be able to flex that muscle if you need to.
Yeah, I think people. I mean, there's I would be terrible at roasting. I think there are people who, I'm trying to think of people who are like really good at all of it. I can't really think of anybody that I think is just like that I've seen be really good. But I will say what I really enjoy is when someone, a comic, identifies the thing they're great at.
Yeah,
and then they just do it so well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Matt's great at crowd work. I mean, Jimmy Carr would just roast.
Oh my goodness,
so hard,
yes.
And it's so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But then, like, I don't want to see Nate Bargatze do crowd work.
No,
he doesn't really do anything. I want him to just talk about. I just want him to write jokes, and probably the same thing with Seinfeld. I've not really ever seen. I've seen him do Q&As.
Sure,
but that's about it. But on the other side, I don't love Matt Rife's comedy, so I'm okay if he just does crowd work, which is probably why he's coming out with the crowd work special.
Well, and like my point of view though is like bringing it back to that Ralphie May thing. When Ralphie May says like people that new comics that are always trying to like rewrite the rules or like like I'm gonna write this way, like you do it this way, but I'm gonna write this new approach like this way.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And his point was like you can't break the rules until you understand them.
Yeah,
and that kind of point of like you can't, so to speak. I don't know. You at least want to be able to know you can do it a little bit, or at least know what it is before you. I don't know. So you know what I'm trying to point.
And I've heard that with music too. That like they'll tell a lot of musicians. Obviously, you typically learn other people's music.
Yeah.
But even when you're recording, when you'll re-record somebody's song and you'll learn like how they build it. I think that's probably a good idea to try out the different types of the tools that you can use within comedy. But
I just think like someone like Jerry Seinfeld, you said like you've never seen him do crowd work. I bet he could still possibly do it.
oh, I'm sure.
I'm not saying you didn't say that. I'm just saying.
Sure.
I think he still has that in his back pocket because he's a master. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, those guys. I mean, that's it.
Chris Rock, Chappelle. You know what I mean? Like
obviously they're on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think what happens though is, because I
you do find your niche though.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of it too, and we'll probably do it again because I got a long ways to go. But I have found that I will try to veer towards what other people are doing because I think it's popular. And I mean, it happens all the time. You take the stage, or you're about to go on stage, and somebody's like killing in front of you, and you're just like, okay, their energy, because I'm not a very high energy comic. Their energy, I got to match their energy, and you do it, and you just bomb so hard.
Yeah.
And I had people tell me, and this is one of the reasons my first special is a story. I had so many people tell me, look, we like your jokes, but we just like your stories a lot better. And it's just what I'm good at. I'm good at crafting a narrative. And so I'm going to stick with that. I am thankful that crowd work exists so I can get myself out of a jam if I need to, elongate a 45-minute set. But also just learning how to write a joke, tell it, and then just, build from there.
This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by your favorite food delivery service such as DoorDash or Uber Eats, but it could be. You can obviously tell from this frame I use those services quite a bit. So help me out and help the channel out. Reach out to those companies and tell them to sponsor this fat ass. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, so my comedic one-man show, it's called Who Brought the Kid? It is about my insecurities as a child growing up in Louisiana based on one thing that someone said to me when I was like 14 years old. Ooh. And follows with a whole trajectory. It goes from all the way from my adolescence all the way until I became a comedian.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's all the way up till 5 years ago.
Wow.
One story. Yeah, I filmed at the Chimera Ballroom downtown, which is a very special place to me. I go there every Saturday with my girls, and I've done that Luna's 5, so I've done that for 5 years.
Nice.
And I love that spot. My wife and I used to go on dates there all the time, and we've been together for 15 years. So, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so, and it was a great show. I had a great time. And then my dry bar is called, I have to think about what it's called. I filmed my dry bar 2.5 years ago. That's how long it takes them to edit a dry bar. I so many times wanted to be like, could just send me I'll edit it for us all. But it's going to come out right when it needs to. And
as long as they don't employ Sean Trainer with the best of Tulsa and all that stuff.
Oh, no, I don't know about all that. But it's called, it's called My Mom's Funnier Than Your Mom.
Nice.
And I will say, my dry bar, there's a lot of stories in it, but it's a lot more jokes. Yeah. Like, it's just, that's one thing about, like, if you're going to be a comic, even if you want to get into like narrative storytelling or whatever, you got to be able to just do a set of jokes because that's what a feature does. That's what a host does. You don't have a whole hour.
Again, going back to having those tools in your tool bag. Like just being ready for any opportunity.
Yep, that's right. Just kill it that way. So they're coming out next month.
Nice, man.
Yep.
Man, it's always great having people on here, especially people that are touring, that are doing shows.
Oh, thanks.
You inspire me, man. Like, you really do. And again, I told you like months ago, even a year ago when I saw you for the first time, I think I was at the Cellar.
Yeah.
The first time I think I encountered you, you were just sitting there at that table and you were writing notes. And I like I said, I picked up on that because I pick out people that are there for just, I'm not trying to disparage people that are quote unquote hobbyists or anything like that. There's people that are there that do their 9 to 5. They want to come out and they want to do some jokes and have some beers. Cool.
That's great.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But then I also noticed that there's people like you that are actually like, hey, I got to take this seriously. I got a show coming up. I'm going to try this stuff out and see if it works and what works, what doesn't work. And then you're taking notes on the crowd and stuff like that. I noticed that stuff.
That's cool.
And like that inspires me. So I'm very appreciative of that because like I see you doing well and you're putting in the work. And that inspires people like the generation that are behind you in like so to speak, like the Tulsa comedy scene that are coming up that are like, hey, he's doing it, man. Like,
yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. And I think it's perfectly acceptable to just say, hey, I love comedy. I love this scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially when you're an adult, like, it's a great spot to make friends and hang out and, like, get, there's always something going on every night. You can be part of something. And I think that's great. I've just been fortunate enough to, and a big part of it is because I'm clean, to be able to do it more often than not. But I'm just trying to keep the gig, man. Like I met a comic a couple years ago who opens for Steven Rogers. He's a great comic. He's got a special online called Before He Was Super. He opens for Brian Regan.
Nice.
And I just was like, hey, when I got this gig with Preacher, I was like, what is the advice? And he's like, every show you're just trying to keep the gig. And I think it's easy to rest on your laurels, like, all right, we're on the road, like, but listen, man, there are 10,000 comics who would love, especially 5 years in, to have this gig of going out every weekend and performing at some of the best clubs in the country. I'm just trying to keep the gig, man.
Yeah.
And so I think about it all the time. And we both know Trevor Carrion, who's a comic here in Tulsa. He's a great comic. He was asking me, I think, Shauna Blake, who's a comic.
Yep. Had her on here recently. She's a fantastic comic.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I love Shauna. She's awesome. Both of them were just asking me what it was like. And I was just like, it's a lot of work. It is. And I think that's one thing that I knew it would be a lot of work, but like I didn't know it was going to be this much work, but like it is an exhausting, tiring, it's a very fun job, but it is a lot of work. And it's not just, it's the comedy, it's the travel, it's the merch, the sales, it's
self-promotion.
It's the making sure that you got all the sizes of the t-shirts. And then on top of everything, the most important thing is that there are jokes.
Yeah.
And like I think that's where a lot of people can maybe miss it, is they forget like, oh yeah, we're paid to be funny.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. So Di always I'll text her like, all right, going on stage, and every time the same thing. She just says, be funny. And it's just like, that's my job.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I started saying that.
Oh,
You
that's
said
fine, man.
something.
That's fine, man. I tell myself two things before I go up stage. Like, I have two things. I say, smile, just be fun, be happy,
Just a great
because it's
thing.
infectious. If you're happy and you have fun up there, they're gonna feel it.
People like it.
And then I always tell myself, take them on a roller coaster ride of emotion. Like if you take them, you need to be the conductor. If you dip, you need to make sure you're intentional and you have someone to jump them up.
Yeah.
And like I just try to keep myself in that. Like you have the mic, you have the power kind of thing. And so I try to like mantra myself as I walk up.
Yeah.
Because I always forget this. I'll never forget this. And we can kind of end in a second. I tried comedy like 15 years ago. And then
I think I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And then I gave up for about 14 years.
Okay.
And then I was gonna.
You should tell people you took a break.
I did. Well, I thought I was banned from Looney Bin.
Okay.
I told a joke in the open mic host at the time said, "Hey, you're banned," and then I found out years later it was just him. It wasn't Looney Bin.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Like you found out 14 years later?
No, I found out like 6 or 7 years later.
Oh, man.
But at the time, Looney Bin was the only thing here, and so I was like devastated. I was 20 years old. I still have the cup back there because like I couldn't even drink, so I take a Looney Bin cup as a souvenir every time. I went 2 times. I was like, this is my new thing. I love to do comedy, and I got banned my second time, and it was that open mic host. But I don't
know that person.
Anyway, it'll be bleeped. But anyway, about 14 years later, I saw Katie Style doing an open mic at Tulsa Comedy Club.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I'm going to write some time. I'm going to write 5 minutes. I'm going to go up there. I'm one of the last 3. And as we're getting ready to go up, she gets handed a note from the host or the owner of the club. And she's like, really? And she goes, I'm sorry, guys. We're running out of time. The following guys only get 4 minutes each. Coming up next, Jared Ralphie Allen.
Oh, okay.
And so as I'm walking up for my first time in 14 years, I have to shave off a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying not to have a panic attack, and I'm trying not to do it. I'm like, and I get through it.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I at least, because I'm sure like there's something about being on that stage. Like if you're meant to be on it, almost in my opinion, like you kind of feel something. Like it's like electric. Like when I'm on, like I don't know, it's just like the best drug ever.
Yeah.
But when I'm on stage, I feel alive. I don't know.
That's funny. I don't feel that way.
Really?
No, I don't. I feel that way when I'm writing.
Really?
Yeah. When I am on stage, I just feel like I'm doing a job. And it's great. I'm having a lot of fun. I love it when a joke hits. I especially love it when a new joke hits or when I'm able to tighten something up or whatever. But I really am just counting the clock. Like I'm thinking about 100 things whenever I'm on stage.
But you also have your set so repetition-wise, right? Like we're locked down.
I do right now, yeah. But like tonight we're doing a set and it's going to be a little different. And yeah, it's funny. I honestly, I wish, I do think, I think I wish I could, I think I wish I do, sorry,
right.
What am I trying to say? I think I do wish that is the way that I felt on stage but it's like I look back on it and I'm like, hey, that was fun. I wish I would have known how fun that was gonna be.
Like
But I
yeah.
don't know how this show's gonna go.
Yeah.
I can assume. I mean, but man, I got one joke that I do within like one laugh within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And like up until that point, I'm just like, I hope they laugh. Something I do really like is when I'm bombing really hard, that I can relax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like I'm just like, this is not gonna go well.
You can't go further down. Like,
No, that's fine. Like, yeah, we'll be fine.
do you
I
try to
mean,
intentionally mess with them like Norm, or do you just
No.
keep doing it? Like,
no, I'm not nearly as smart as any of those guys and how they're able to craft that. Yeah, Norm's a genius.
what was the Iowa gig he did where he got banned from the state? It
I
was
don't think I know that story.
it was like Iowa. Yeah, I think it was.
He got banned from the state.
Yeah, like he did a college gig or did some kind of gig, and he did a blues set, like hardcore blues
Okay.
set, when you like nobody expected it.
Yeah.
And it was just a joke to himself, and like even like the governor was like, "Get him out of my effing state" and stuff like that. Like,
And then it turned out to just be the open mic host that banned him, and so he
yeah,
didn't know he
that was
could-
a nice callback.
He could actually just go back. Yeah, bombing. I mean, that's no fun. Nobody. Yeah. Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad story.
Nobody wants to bomb, but if you're bombing and it's like low risk and
Yeah.
like if I'm at the Looney Bin, that's my home club. So like I'm not gonna get kicked out
Yeah.
of the club or whatever.
Is that where you're going tonight?
Yeah, they're doing a show. It's called like couples therapy.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I forgot that I forgot that I was on it,
Oh,
and so I'm on it, and so we're gonna do that tonight.
well, I would be there, but not to be competitive. But I'm going up at Bricktown tonight. So
Yeah, I was gonna go. I was gonna swing by there, but yeah, apparently I'm on. I'm doing this show.
yeah, I think I'm like 5th on the list or something like that. For like Bricktown does like the sign-ups on a month in advance, like
Yep.
online, and like some comments are like, "Man, I hate that stuff." I actually prefer it because like I'm out of state or out of city. You see how it is. Like I drive 45 minutes to an hour every time.
Yeah.
So being able to sign up a month in advance, 2 to 3 times a month, and be like, "Hey, I know I have those guaranteed."
No, it's great.
That's super helpful because like
Yeah.
nothing sucks. I'm sure you can relate. Than driving like an hour and be like, "Oh, our spots are full."
Yeah. Well, I live in Tulsa, so that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. But and I've never gone up. I've never gone up at the Bricktown.
I know we got to wrap up soon. Yeah.
No, it's okay. I've never gone up at the Bricktown open mic in Tulsa, but I've done the Oklahoma City
Yeah.
one before Bricktown open, and that was always great to know. Like, hey, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out here.
Well, man,
Yeah.
thank you so much for stopping by. Where can everybody follow the great Adam Bush?
Yeah, Hey Adam Bush on all platforms. It's at Hey Adam Bush, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Threads, my website, Hey Adam Bush.
Thank you so much,
That's all.
man. And like I said, this will be out the first week of May to help promote
it's
everything.
great.
And so when's the remind the audience again, the Dry Bar special?
Yeah, my Dry Bar special will drop on the 9th of May, and if you follow my socials, you'll get you'll see I'll post I think they give me like a code so you can have a free trial, so you
Nice.
can watch it. And and then but my special, my one man show is the 17th of May. Who Brought the Kid? And it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on my website. You can watch it there, and just share it as much as you
Guys,
can.
help subscribe, like it, download it, share it as much as possible.
Smash it, pound it.
If you're a fan of comedy in general, just anything, just Adam Bush is a hilarious man.
Well,
man.
thank you. I appreciate it.
And also just a stand-up guy. Like, you've always been kind to me. You've always been
thank you.
nice. Just anytime it's been a pleasant experience every time.
I appreciate that. I'm very small. Being a jerk would not be advantageous to me.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
this is really the only, tool I've got is to be kind to people.
I just try to relabel myself as cuddly.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been Unloading Meat. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen. That's Adam Bush. Peace, guys.
Unloading the meat. 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 I don't even know what it means, what it is, what it is, what it is.
Bye. Have a great time.